Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back into my channel. So in this lab, we're going to create two VM and we're gonna learn how to SSH into them. So first thing first, let's just go ahead and pull up a virtual machine and let's just go ahead and create our VM real quick. So then let's create a new resource group. We're gonna call this RG1. Hit OK. We're gonna call this server 1 and let's put this on the East US 1 and the East US, and then we're gonna leave the availability zone as it is, the zone 1 as it is, and we're gonna let just this Ubuntu selected by default. Now we're not gonna use SSH, so let's just use this as, so let's call this call and let's create a password for it. So, okay. So then let's type it again. Let's go ahead. Okay. Now for the port, we're gonna allow 2 ports instead of just one. I mean SSH port 22. We're gonna select like HTTP port 82 as well. So we should hit next, and now with disk image 30 gig of RAM. Yeah, just leave this as default. So let's go networking. No new net server and out of that, and these ports. So let's just go on manage, and so let's go on monitor. OS diagnostics and all of that. So let's go ahead and create this. It passed the validation and we create it. So while creating the first virtual machine, let's just go ahead and create the other one too as well. So it create, bang, bang, bang. Let's put it on the same resource group as the first one. Let's name this server 2. Put it on the same availability zone. And we're gonna leave everything else as standard. As we come down here, we're gonna hit password, and let's just that and see if it gives us that. This password match. Okay, so let's remove that. Now the passwords are compatible. So as we come down here, we're gonna make sure that we don't just select the port SSH, but I mean SSH port only, but we hit port 82 as well. And so let's see. Okay, so looks like we have everything that we need. We get everything. Okay, so let's just review and create. And create. Now let's go to our virtual machine. Say refresh, since the other one is still in the process of creating. Okay, so let's hit refresh. Okay, so now let's open server one, and we're gonna go right to the public IP, and we're gonna go here and hit terminal. Oh, okay, terminal, and you have been signed out because your account signed in into another account. What the? Where else will that be? No way. This will make no sense. Okay. Okay. So let's just SSH into this machine real quick. So all we gotta do is to SSH, and then we put the username and at, and we paste the IP address. So let's see, and we're gonna hit yes. Add access for the password. Now there we go. We should log into server one. So we log into server one. Let's check its IP address to be sure. So we here. So see, we have a limp loopback, and we have an IP address. So it looks like we have. Let's look to see what's the version of this Ubuntu. So the way to do that is to do LSB, I'm sorry, and underscore release, release -A. Now it display that the distributor ID is Ubuntu and description is Ubuntu 20.04.5 TLS, so release 20.4. So so we kind of good. So let's just go ahead and log into the second server. So let's just go ahead and click on server 2. Let's grab the public IP, and let's just go back to this. Let's open a second session, and let's type in SSH dash call up. So this should be as the word was. Oh, sorry. So it should be like that, and then let's paste this IP. Type in yes. Now we type in our password. Now, let's see if we in. Okay, so we in into the other server. So like we did from the first server, let's just check in its IP. So there go the IP. As you can tell here, this is the second server and there go the first one. So let's check its version. So this was LBS. This was LSB underscore release. And then now you see the version that we have. Now, what we can do is if we were to take the if we were to take the IP of the if we were to take the IP of the first server, if we were to take the IP of the first server, let's go here. Let's copy the IP of the first server and go here. Oh, sorry. You see what did I just take? Let's go back. So they're going to, sorry. They're going to the IP of the first server. And if we paste it here, we should have this server come up. So this site can be reached. Let's see something. Okay, so just a second. So what we should do is we should install Apache server. We should install Apache on both of these um, servers. So let's go on the server one. Let's do first of all sudo apt. Let's do an update first and see. We was gonna forget about this step. See. All right. So now let's do an opao, and we could do sudo apt and type get, and we could say sudo apt get install Apache 2-y. So it's kind of installing the Apache for us, the Apache server for us, So now that the Apache server is installed, we could I could go back here, and if we were to copy this, if we were to copy the public IP of the app, I mean of the of the primary server, or either we already have it here. So let's just say, so there we go. We could log into the Apache server. Now, we're gonna go ahead and follow the same step for server 2. So let's go. Let's go for server 2. So first and foremost, we gotta do an app. No, it's sudo app update. So we gotta do an update first before before we install the Apache server here. So okay. Now let's do an all-power. So you could do sudo apt-get and install. You could say Apache 2 -y. Okay. So now that we installed the Apache on the second server, so let's pull that up. So there go the IP address of the first server. Let's go grab the IP address of the second server and see if we could log into it. So that's the IP address of the second server. Now let's paste it to a browser and hit enter. Okay, so there we go. We log into the second one. Now we can change the default on both of these. Let's go ahead and go to the primary. So what we can do is we can do an all power and just type in um sudo so it'll be just sudo echo it'll be just sudo echo and then that station h1, close it, open, type in font, we say color, we would say equal to, let's give it a color of red, and we close this. You could say the primary server. The primary server one. Now we can close the font. Oh, sorry. So there's no need of this. So we could close the font. Then, so one mistake is this here. Let's go back here. That's a blunder mistake. So on HTML. So then we could do dash, and we close this. Then we do an all-power. I mean, not a all-power, but a forward slash. We type in var and a forward slash again. www.html forward slash index dot html. Okay. Look like we missed some step here. So what we should do, yeah, so we should change the mode. So basically, what we should do is we should change the mode first. So with this command, the sudo change mode 777 dash minus capital R. So it's very case sensitive. Make sure that you don't take this lightly. www forward slash HTML forward slash. And now let's just up our and see if we find this. We type this right, or do we make any mistake? Okay, so let's see. Maybe we type this wrong. So we can go ahead and type the whole thing again to make sure there was no mistake. So let's just hop out and make this big. That way we see. So it should be sudo echo and a space. I'm sorry. So it should be sudo echo. It should be sudo echo and a space h1 and font caller equal. So let's just close this and see if that will make any difference. Let's close font color, font equal, font color equal, go red, and let's close this. And then close that. So I am the primary server. So it font, oh yeah, so my bad. Obviously, I make this big blunder mistake. What that is I didn't close H1. So H1 have to be closed to as well. And then you have this close, right? And then we have var www.html/index.html. So now it should take it. No such directory. Let's go ahead and through this command sudo change mode 777 -r capital O /var www. Okay. So now let's just go here and see this thing is wrong. What that is. Just help me troubleshoot here. It's sudo echo. Let's just make space and see. So all that is I'm trying to change the, so H1 and font color equal red. And this is close. Okay. HTML. So I am the primary server. Close. H1 close. Not. Okay. So I see. The mistake was just here. No, sorry. Just make space. Okay. So var www.html. Okay. Why is this not taken? Channel is closed. Wow. Okay, I see the mistake. So it's okay. No, yeah, I go bad. So it should not be a dot here. This should be a /. So there we go. All right. So all that is just to change the font here, just to make you differentiate the primary from the secondary. See if we refresh. Oh, that's the secondary maybe. So let's see what's the primary. Okay, so I'm the primary server 1. You could tell I changed that now. Now let's do the same for the secondary server If I could copy this, I would, because this is really a pain in the... So let's go ahead and see if we can copy this. It's not gonna allow us to, or what? Okay, so all that is just... So I probably make this from the secondary. So let's change that. As a matter of fact, I call this I'm the primary when this should be the secondary. So let's just change this and make this be I'm the secondary server. The secondary server. I'm the secondary, yep, server. Okay. Okay. Now let's go over there and just refresh, and this become the secondary server. So let's go ahead and just make this real quick on the primary. So let's go on the primary. So all that is just sudo, oh, sorry, is sudo, and then change mode 777 -r, then space vr, and then /www/html and /. Okay, so now this is giving us the space to just type in sudo echo to h1, close, we open, oh, no, should be inside of these. So h1, close, open font, say color equal, let's make this green, and then we close. Then I call this I am the primary server, and I close the font. Sorry. I mean, don't matter. So I'm not sure if HTML is case sensitive. So I close the font and I close the H1. And now, as I close H1, I put the quotation, the double quotation mark, and I put a bracket, space, /var /www /html /index dot html. So all that is just to show you that the text is an HTML file. So in hypertext, whatever, multimedia. So now, if we go to server 1 and refresh, you see now we have I'm the primary. I could have, center this or make this bold or whatever, do prettiness on it, but we don't really have time for that right now for the purpose of not making this lab too long. So what we should do right now is to just go and start configuring load balancer. So let's just say we go to home, we go on load balancer, and we start hitting create. So now we sure already have a subscription. So let's just put it under this subscription, and we could give it a name of, like, let's say we call that, um so we give it an instance name of my load balancer or whatever, or L for load, B for balancer, and 1. Now we could put it on each US1, which it already is. Let's make sure that we make that public. And so we're gonna leave the other rest as standard, and we're good. So let's just click next for front end IP. So let's configure the front end IP as what? So let's just add a front end IP configuration. So we could give this a name as F. So F as front and H front end. Let's just make it that. And we get IPv4 now. Let's choose a name for the public IP address. And let's make this demo. Let's make this demo IP. Let's just call this demo. And we could leave it on everything else as default. Availability zone, whatever. So let's just OK and add. Now, let's hit next. Let's add a backend pool. Now with the backend pool, we're gonna name it capital B for back and HAND and pool. Now we could put this on the server 1. Now we're gonna hit add, and we're gonna add both of the machines, 1 and 2, which is the 2 servers, and hit add. We're gonna just save. So hit add both of them, and just save. And we view and create. Just trying to making sure that we have everything done in order and decency. So now it's past the validation. Now it's create. So it's just gonna take a few before it's come up. So as soon as it come up, we're gonna go into the resource. So it says deployment is in progress. So let's go to resource, and we could hit health and probe. Now we're gonna add an health and probe. So let's see, we name this health, let's make this my health. We can leave it on TCP. You could choose any protocol you want, and we could leave it on port 80 and 5. So let's just add as interval. Now, we need to go to, let's see, let's see if we go to my load balancer and hit like see more stuff. Okay, to add tags. So we have a public IP address of 20.20 So this would not take long before we have our two servers configured with the same public IP address. So 20, not sure if that's the same, but it should be. So now let's go back to whom. Now the secondary and the first, I mean on this and the first server should have the same IP address of the load balancer. Now let's go back to the load balancer because we haven't done that yet with the configuration. So let's just click on there. Now let's go ahead and add rule. So load balancer rule. So let's click add. So we're gonna give this a name to my rule. Let's just call this my rule. The name is not make no difference. So you could give it any name you like. I can leave it on IPv4. And now on the front end IP, I could click on the front end that I made, backend. I could click on the backend that I made, and I could leave this on TCP. Now for the port, I can make the port like I could make the port like 1,000 to 80, and the TC now for the backend is 80, the front end is 1,000. Now the help probe is this automatically. We could leave the session persistent as none, the idle timeout as 4. And what else do we? So we could make sure that anything else to stay as default, like TCP reset, stuff like that. There's no need to enable that. Let's check on the fault IP. Why is it enabled for then? So the float IP should be disabled. And so let's just save. Now, as we have everything saved, let's just go to the load balancer back here. And let's see more. And you see the IP address here. So we're gonna go ahead and paste this IP address into a new browser and see what do we got. Now let's remove this. Okay. So there we go. Let's see what we log into as. So it says the connection is not secure. So this is a sign that shows that we get a connection anyway. Because if it wasn't, then it would say. So you just hit this. So my machine is very slow. So it might take some time before it come up. But if you look here, let's say if you were to go back to this and you click on virtual machine. Now let's investigate in depth to see. If you go down here, you'll see the IP address of the load balancer that we just typed into the browser. It's right there on the public IP address here, right? The server and stuff like that. So now let's investigate that also on. So it was 20.42. Let's go ahead and investigate that also on server 2. So it's 20.42. So basically, we haven't missed any step. It's just that the machine is very, I would say slow. So on some reason, it doesn't want to display this now. Let's check something. Let's say if we were to try a different browser like Safari. And let's just paste this. I don't wanna. Let's see. So this Mac is running very hot right now. So let's see. I'm not sure why it takes forever, but these are the steps that you do to configure a load balancer. So let's say you close this, so let's go server 2, and server 1 is right there. So if this were to come up, all we will do is just to stop one of those machines and it would load balance into the other one. And we would stop both of the machine and refresh, then we should not get any response. And we would reopen one of those machines and it would automatically give us a display. So basically with those two servers, what that is just, it's not magic. So if this server is down, then the traffic from this server is going to load balance into this server. And it's vice versa into both of them together. So say, if this website will come up, if I were to go here and just click stop here in one of those servers, the traffic from this server 1 would redirect into server 2, and I would have a connection. Yeah, I'm not sure. So maybe for firewall reason of some other things that I can't explain. So I'm not sure why it's not coming up. But these are all the steps, and we're not miss any of those steps that create any reason that it doesn't come up. So we would just do likewise. And now, just to play with those two load balancers, we would go and stop both of these servers, and you would refresh here and see, we would refresh the load balancer and see the web page will be offline. But again, thank you so very much. I apologize for this such a long lab, but this was very helpful. So basically, I'm not sure if there's a firewall that stopped this from working, but as you could tell, obviously, that everything has been configured accordingly. So they go the same IP address on the load balancer. So we get 20.246.245.42, and that's what we have here. And that's the reading that we have on the public IP address on server 1. And if you go on server 2, that's basically the same. So this is not magic. So there we go. And we have load balancer and the name of it that we gave it. So again, thank you for following along. Stay tuned for another lab configuration. I'm sure I might come up with another lab on a different machine. So we would probably find out why this doesn't work for this browser. But again, thank you. Stay tuned, okay? Bye-bye.